Something happened during a team meeting at the Maddow Center for Dental Practice Success that caused us to completely reevaluate how we work with our team. It was a really important thing. It seemed like nothing at the time, but I think it's kind of turned into a landmark. As a matter of fact, I talk about it in my seminars from time to time, and that's what we're going to be talking about. One of the many things we'll be talking about on today's episode of the Dental Practice Fixers podcast. I'm Dr. Richard Maddow. I'm co-founder of the Maddow Center for Dental Practice Success and your host today on The Fixers. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for listening. As I was just about ready to hit record on this podcast, I was doing some multitasking. I was trying to write an e-newsletter for my dental list of dentists and team members. I was having a text chain with some people in my office. I was having a text chain with my brothers. I was having another text chain with some friends. This was like the ultimate multitasking, and I realized I wasn't getting anything done and decided I got to stop for a second and just do one thing at a time. I think multitasking can be seen as something so positive. For instance, maybe you're interviewing somebody for a position in your office and they say, I'm a great multitasker. But I got to say, I'm not always a fan of multitasking. I think it's better to do one thing really well at a time than do three or four things mediocrely. Is that even a word, mediocrely? It doesn't matter. It's a word now. I was kind of reflecting way back to when I was in college. One summer, I went to college, University of Maryland, during the summer, and I was living in this kind of an apartment-style dorm with three other guys. It was four of us. We each had our own little bedrooms, but they all connected to this huge living room area. And that's, there were sofas there and chairs and a TV, and that's where we always hung out. We were always there. And of course, as you know, I'm a musician, big music fan. I always wanted to have music blasting on my big wooden JBL speakers. They were hand-me-down from my brother Dave. These things were awesome. I would just crack music up on these things. But one of my roommates was a big sports fan, and he always wanted to have sports playing on the TV. So the typical scenario would be music playing on the stereo, sports on TV with the sound down. Then I'd be sitting there taking all this in, trying to study for a chemistry exam. And I realized I wasn't doing anything well. I wasn't absorbing the music. I couldn't follow the sports. And of course, I wasn't studying well. And I just realized, you know what? I'm going to go to the library. I'll spend an hour and a half to 2 hours at the library studying for chemistry. Then I'll be all set for the exam. And then I can come back to the room and listen to music, watch sports, engage in conversation, do one thing at a time and really do it well. And it reminds me, we had a team member at the Maddow Center several years ago. She was awesome at doing her job, but she just was not a great multitasker. If she was doing something and you tried to throw something else at her at the same time, she would get a little bit, uptight, not with it, whatever. You could tell she was uncomfortable doing that. And at first, I didn't like it. But then I began to realize, this is a person who's a great team member, smart, reliable, really good at what they do. I'm going to let her do what she's doing and finish it. And I know she'll do a great job. I won't have to double or triple check. Whatever she's doing will be ready to rock and then on to the next task. So I started valuing multitasking less and doing a really good job and just doing it once and getting it over with more. It's a lesson I wish I would learn completely and stop trying to multitask all the time. But I just thought I'd throw that in there because right before I hit record, I spent the last 15 minutes trying to do too many things and not accomplishing anything. If I would have just done one thing at a time, it probably would have been better. So I don't think if any of us were the patient, we want the dentist doing a crown prep and then doing other things at the same time, kind of like my old first dentist, Dr. Isaac Koppel, used to do. He was my mom's dentist, my grandfather's dentist. He was like last of a dying breed. I mean, this was way back when I was a kid in the 60s. He'd be preparing an amalgam prep. Of course, it was always amalgam. Doing an amalgam prep, he'd drop an instrument on the floor and pick it up. He'd be on the phone with a patient at the same time because he didn't have any team members, changing the water in his fish tank, and believe it or not, smoking a cigarette. Yes, in those days, a dentist could smoke a cigarette while they were treating you. Crazy times. He was maybe the original multitasker. I got to say, he was a good dentist. Some of those old amalgams he did, I'll bet, are still in place 50, 60 years later. Okay, let's get down to what I wanted to talk about today before my ramble on multitasking, which maybe you got something out of. And before I talk about that famous Matto Center team meeting, I just want to urge you to check the show notes for this podcast. There are 5 great things in there for you to do, 5 things that will help your practice, enhance your life, all those other things. If you don't have time or you can't check the show notes, please subscribe to our e-newsletter. Every now and then, I'll send out some great practice building information, maybe some motivational stuff, some things to talk about at team meetings. Also, of course, let you know about some complimentary webinars that we do and all kinds of other goings on here that can help your practice. Just go to matto.com/newsletter, matto.com/newsletter. And if you're watching the video, you can see I just took a sip out of a Dental Practice Fixers coffee mug, which can be yours if you sign up for the e-newsletter, because every now and then we do a drawing of our new signups and somebody gets this cool coffee mug. So go to matto.com/newsletter to sign up. I'm sure you will love the great information you'll get. And of course, it's free of charge. How can you beat that? Okay, let's talk about something now that I call the seating chart rule. So this was several years ago. My brother Dave and I, Dave's co-founder and my partner in the Matto Center, we were preparing for our annual holiday dinner, which, typically meant reserving a semi-private room at a big steakhouse downtown and getting a huge table and everybody just getting together for the holiday dinner, having fun, reminiscing about all kinds of fun things and chatting the night away. Always a great event at the Matto Center. So, of course, Dave and I get there early. Well, I get there early for everything. So does Dave. I'm kind of like the airport dad of life. And we're there early, way before anybody else is supposed to show up. But one of the reasons we got there early was to place name cards on each seat so everybody would know where to sit. And we got a little gift for each person. That year it might have been a bottle of wine, and we would try to figure out what kind of wine each person liked. And then, they get a personalized bottle with their place card showing them where to sit. But the thing is, that's not really why we were doing the place cards. We were doing the place cards because we wanted to have a specific seating chart to make sure that the dinner was fun and the dinner was a success. Now that may sound good, but it actually wasn't, because as we're putting this is really why we did it. We're thinking things like, Julie and Karen can't sit next to each other because they can't stand each other. They'll just be, fighting all night, whatever. Now, if we put Ashley and Sally next to each other, they'll be whispering and making private jokes and pointing at other people and doing some backstabbing. So we don't want to put them next to each other. And we can't put this person next to this one, or we can't put Bernadetta next to this person because she can't see, I don't know, all these crazy reasons. And hell, if I'm sitting next to Linda, I'm not doing that. And this is how the conversation goes as we're laying out these place cards. And after a while, we start saying to ourselves, you know what? This is crazy. This is our business. We've got 15 people who work with us every day. They're part of our work family. We see them sometimes more than we see our own family members. And we're struggling to figure out where to seat people because some people can't get along and some people get too involved in these inside backstabbing conversations that are very unhealthy. And there are people that work with us in our own office that we don't even want to sit next to. This is crazy. So we finished putting out the seating cards based on those parameters, and the dinner went fine. And a few days later, we're talking, saying, you know what? There's something inherently wrong with this. We should not be having to tell people where to sit in order to have a successful holiday dinner. And we made a goal. And that goal was that 1 year from then, when we met at the same restaurant, the same semi-private room, I love that term, semi-private room. It wasn't a private room. It was a semi-private room. We had a bunch of semis with us. Maybe some of them were driving semis. I don't know. But when we met again a year later, we weren't going to need a seating chart because everybody will get along well. Everybody will work together well. And there's not one person there that we, as the owners of the company, would not, I'm using like a double, triple, quadruple negative. Well, let me rephrase that. We'd want to sit next to everybody. We enjoy every single person's company in our company enough that we would love to sit next to them at the holiday dinner. And this was our goal. So then, of course, we started getting a little more serious. How can we achieve this goal? There are some people who just are troublemakers in our office. There are 15 people we're talking about. There's a prima donna. There's a backstabber. There's somebody who says, we've always done it that way and I'm not changing. That's not my job. Now, I don't want to be ragging on our team. We had a great team. fantastic team. They did an amazing job, but some people didn't get along well with others, or they didn't play well with others, as they say, for those reasons. And that was just putting a little bit more tension in the office than we would like. So we decided, well, if anybody needs a little pep talk about how to solve this problem, now's the time. It was, the holiday dinner was over. It was the beginning of the year, New Year's resolutions and all that BS. So there, we're going to talk to each team member individually about, first of all, always start about how great of a job they're doing, because they were. We loved our team members. They were hardworking and smart and did a great job. But also tell them about some areas where they could use some improvement. And if that happened to be that they gossiped or they backstabbed or they didn't get along with someone else or they told too many inside stories and kind of left others out of the equation, yes, this was a great time to talk about it. And that this is the time to talk about this stuff. And we're going to give you the chance to improve. We're here if you need us to talk about, talk these things through. Let's see if we can really work on things and really improve. And you know what? Everybody took it to heart, because when we framed it that way, everybody knew that this was the ultimate goal. We had the ultimate goal of making the workplace a better place, making the workplace a place where we'd be looking forward to coming to every day and didn't mind who we interacted with, because we enjoyed the company of every single person in the workplace. And you know what? Our team members took it seriously. And they really wanted to make these improvements. And sometimes we had to talk it out with people. Sometimes we had to get two team members in the room together and have a little referee court there and have them work out their issues with one another. Whatever it took. We didn't want to fire anyone. That's not what this was all about. We just wanted people to improve. And improving in your job doesn't always mean doing your technical job better. Of course it means that sometimes, but it can also mean ramping up your people skills and your communication skills and just giving people a break and appreciating others that worked around us. And one of the big things that I noticed, and I did this in my dental office too, was to make sure that everybody in the office really understood the jobs of the other people there. Now, we talk about cross-training. I think in a dental practice, you can do some cross-training, sure, but it's impossible to completely cross-train every team member. You can't, obviously, being a hygienist takes licensing and such, but I think you can't have somebody who's a superstar at every position in the practice, but you definitely can have every person in the practice at least have a basic knowledge of every position, enough so that they could hop in when needed to do a job in a non-licensed position, of course, but also to appreciate what that person's job brings to the table. I'm sick of hearing about the front versus the back. The front doesn't appreciate the back doesn't appreciate the front. Of course, this means the business area of the practice versus the clinical section of the practice. But hey, front and back, I got to tell you, without the other, you wouldn't exist. You wouldn't exist. Clinical team, you wouldn't exist without a great admin team and business team getting patients in your chairs and making sure that they pay and their insurance forms are completed properly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Front desk team, you wouldn't exist if we didn't have a great clinical team so we could show off our beautiful work and patients would call and we give people incredible patient experiences in the clinical area so they'd come back and refer and do all those things. So we need each other, and we also need to appreciate one another. Okay, so back to our goal. The next year, will we need a seating chart? Well, unfortunately, after a lot of work and talk and communication, one or two people just couldn't see that this was valuable enough to work on the issues that they were having. And we did wind up actually having to give a couple people a job opportunity elsewhere. And again, I am not a fan of firing people. When we work with you, if you contract the Matter Center to consult with your dental practice and we wind up being your coach, we never come in and say, this person's got to go. You got to fire this person. But if you give somebody a lot of training and a lot of help and a lot of latitude and really try your best to work with them and they just can't do it, well, there will come a day when you will say, what took me so long? I guarantee it. So that is the seating chart rule. The next year, we had our holiday party. We didn't bring a seating chart. Everybody got along. I know, speaking from my personal stance, there was not one person there that I didn't want to sit next to at the company dinner. That doesn't mean we all have to be on best friends or go on ski vacations together. That might be taking it way too far, but we do need to get along and enjoy each other's company. So important. That is the seating chart rule. Okay, we talked about multitasking. We talked about having a great team where everybody understands each other's positions and gets along well with each other. That should be enough for one podcast, but no, we've got our famous dental practice fixers mystery shopper calls to do. We've got some good ones for you today that I think you will learn from. Before I go over to Command Central and hit the button on the mystery shopper calls, I do want to remind you that at the Matto Center, we do not pay a percentage for our credit card processing. Every time somebody whips out a credit card, we don't pay a percentage to process the credit cards like you're doing in your office. Now, of course, you have to pay the percentage to Visa, MasterCard, Amex. That's a given like popcorn. But we just pay a low, flat monthly fee for our credit card processing. And we have saved, I'm not kidding, tens of thousands of dollars. And you should do the same in your dental practice. Just go to matto.com/save. You'll see the company we work with is called Stacks. They're awesome. They work with hundreds of dental practices, maybe many more, thousands, millions, I don't know how many. They work with a ton of dental practices across the country. You should be working with them too because you just pay that low, flat monthly fee for your processing. Go to matto.com/save to learn more. I know you'll be glad you did. And I got a few emails last week asking me what was that company I recommended to get more new patients into your practice because you are doing incredible search engine optimization. And when somebody Googles dentist near me, cosmetic dentist, orthodontics, whatever it is they Google, they're going to find you. Their company is called Simple Impact Media, and you can learn more about them by going to matto.com/SEO. That stands for Search Engine Optimization. MADOW.com/SEO. Let's go on to our mystery shopper calls. Okay, call this week. I said I was a patient who needed 4 crowns. Ding, 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 ding. A huge bell should automatically go off. What's that bell? Dr. Matto just got a new patient because I'm calling and saying, I know I need 4 crowns. What's the catch? I have a little bit of a gag reflex. Will you work with me? Now, what's the right thing to say? I think you know. Let's see if any of these practices did it. Okay, go to call number 1. See what happens.
Family Dental, this is Dreama. How may I help you?
Hey, I have a question for you. I know from my last dentist that I need like 3 or 4 crowns, but I've kind of been putting it off because I can be like a bit of a gagger. Do you see patients there who have that issue, and how do you deal with that?
So we have a nitrous that you could get. Sometimes that'll relax you to where you don't gag as much. We also have a sedative that doctor can call in. You just have to bring somebody with you. If you're having anxiety about gagging and things like that, we can give you that. But yeah, we see patients that have that issue all the time.
Oh, very interesting. What's nitrous?
It's just nitrous oxide.
Nitrous oxide. Okay, I see. All right. Great. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Bye. Oh, you too. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Haven't we learned anything yet? Okay, well, first of all, she used a dental term. She said nitrous, which I don't think most people know what that is. I know laughing gas is kind of an outdated term, but I have no problem using that term or even describe it. We have, and then I said, what's nitrous? She said, oh, nitrous oxide. Like, that really helps things. Okay, I don't know what nitrous is. I'm going to know what nitrous oxide means. It's laughing gas. It's just something you breathe and it helps you relax. Just say what it is. But I got to tell you, this office, she said they use nitrous oxide, they use sedatives, they see patients that gag. Okay, good. Sounds like this will be a great office for me. And it sounds like I'd be a great patient for them. I know I need 4 crowns. And then boom, no effort whatsoever to get me in. Come on now. Don't you want a patient who needs 4 crowns? Even if they're a little bit of a gagger? I mean, at least get them in and see. Look, if they're a horrible gagger and you can't treat them, you can refer them, but you'll never know unless they come in for an exam or a consult, which will never happen in that office. Let's see if it'll happen in the next one.
Thank you for calling Dental Care. This is Chelsea. How may I help you?
Hey, Chelsea, I have a question for you. I was told a short time ago by another dentist that I need 3 or 4 crowns, but I was a little hesitant to go in because I can have like a bit of a gagging reflex at the dentist. Do you see patients that have that kind of thing going on?
We do. Sometimes it just kind of depends how bad it is because we may refer out to a specialist for that because they may have to do sedation, any sort of thing like that. It really just depends on the doctor. They would have to kind of see.
Yeah. Okay. I would say it's about a 6 or a 6.5.
Yeah, they would have to
Yeah.
determine that. I can't really say if they would or not because each doctor is different on what they can handle. But I know we have referred out to specialists before, just depending on how bad it is.
I see. Okay. Great. Well, thanks then.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You have a great one too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
I don't get it. I made up the gagging scale. She didn't even flinch at that one. I said it's a 6 or a 6.5. What the heck does that even mean? Is there a gagging scale? I guess there could be. I don't know. But it was interesting. She said, this was a multi-doctor practice, obviously, and she said some doctors handle that better than others. And then sometimes we have to refer. So why not schedule me with the doctor who handles the patients with the gag reflex really well? This made no sense. Why not say, oh, Dr. Jones is great with that. She's so gentle and she just has such a nice touch and she doesn't mind seeing patients with gag reflexes or anxiety. I think you'll be really happy when you meet her. Can you come in tomorrow at 2:30 p.m.? If that's not good for you, we've got Wednesday at 1:30 p.m., which works. I mean, come on now. Get the patient in. No attempt. This cannot continue. I swear it can't. Let's see what happens.
Thank you for calling Family Dentistry. To get you to the best team member, please select from the following menu. If you are considering becoming a new patient, please press 1. If you are an existing patient, please press 2. For all other questions for our office team, please press 3.
Man,
Your call may be recorded for quality and training purposes.
Thank you for calling Family and Cosmetic Dentistry. This is Jayla. How can I help you?
Hey, Jayla, I have a question for you. I know that I need 4 crowns, or at least I was told that previously. But I'm just a little concerned because sometimes I can gag a little bit if the appointment's really long or whatever. So I didn't go back to that dentist. But do you see patients who have that issue at all?
That have like a gagging issue?
Yeah, or can't do like a huge long
lots,
appointment,
actually.
gagging, things like that. You do? You gag lots of people?
Yeah, we all the time. No, we do see that quite often. A lot of patients actually have that issue. I think we're pretty good about doing breaks if necessary and trying not to, shove things down your throat,
Oh, well, that's actually really nice to hear because I know some people aren't quite as gentle as others, so I do appreciate that. Yeah, cool. Okay, well, great. Thank you so much for letting me know that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. If you need anything else, just let us know.
I definitely will. You're really nice, and I'll thank you so much. Thanks. Bye.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Bye.
Cool. Bye.
Wonderful. If you need anything else, just let us know. Yes, I do need something else. I need an appointment so I can come into your great office and get my 4 crowns done. She was so nice. She was kind of lighthearted and fun and said, oh, yes, we see people like that all the time. We try to be gentle. We give you a break. We want to ram a million things down your mouth. This is exactly what I wanted to hear as a patient who has a gagging reflex. Yet, she comforted me on the phone. She said the right things. No attempt to make the appointment. What the heck is going on here? Let's keep going.
Okay, how can I help you?
I have a question for you. I know I need 4 crowns. That's what I was told by my last dentist.
Okay.
I didn't go back though. Yeah, because I have like a little bit of a gag reflex, and I didn't think they were treating me very gently. Do you see patients there that have those issues?
Yes, we do. I know we can do like the gas or whatever, laughing gas or whatever it's called, but that does cost extra. It's not usually covered by insurance.
Ah, how much extra?
I do not know that off the top of my head because it's not used too often, honestly.
Oh, really? What if you use that and I laugh too much? Would that cause a similar problem?
So the crowns. Let me put you on a brief hold, okay?
Oh, sure.
What was going on here? This person was kind of clueless. I mean, let's not downplay this laughing gas. I called. I said I have a gag reflex. She said we can use laughing gas, but then talk me out of it. Oh, it's really expensive. It's not covered by insurance. We hardly ever use it. Now I feel like an idiot. Then I asked, I was kind of kidding around. I said, what happens if I laugh too much? And she starts telling me the fees for the crowns. I think that's what she was doing. Then put me on a hold. And I got to tell you, you were not going to hear her come back because I'm looking at the timer here. I was on hold for 3 minutes and then I just hung up. So I'm not going to make you listen to silence for 3 minutes. I'll just say she was not good. Then she put me on, I could still be on hold in this office. Who knows what's going on there? It's never good to put patients on hold, but if you have to, come on, play a little music or something and come back right away. Lost opportunity. Boom. Bye. See you later. Actually, I will never see you again. Okay, that is going to do it for today's episode. Just a couple quick reminders. If you want to email me about anything, my email address is rich, R-I-C-H, at madow.com. If you have any questions about anything, want to see what it's like to work with us as your personal dental coach, bring me in to speak to your meeting or study club, anything, or just ask a question or say hi, rich at madow.com. Madow.com/save to see how to save money in your credit card processing month after month. Madow.com/SEO. You can learn how patients will find you when they Google for a new dentist. And one more quick thing, if you're enjoying the Dental Practice Fixers, please help other dentists all across the world enjoy it as well by giving us a good rating on whatever podcast service you're watching or listening on. A review would be even better. I'm Dr. Richard Madow. Thanks so much for spending this time with me today, and I will see you soon.